I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
We are the future, Charles, not them.
I'm kidding.
We're the X-Men, dated metaphor for racism in the 60s.
What's a Magneto? A very powerful mutant.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Enter the X-Verse. I'm Nathan, I'm one of your hosts, and I'm joined by my co-host, my friend, your friend.
Hello, I'm comic book legend Mark Miller.
He is comic book legend. I'm also comic book legend Mark Miller. And Mark Miller's of a kind. We are here to talk about the 2005 forgotten movie.
I don't know if I'd say that. This movie's infamous.
Infamous movie, we'll say that, okay. Star of Deadpool and Wolverine, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Elektra.
Yes, 2005's Elektra. I'm not really Mark Miller. That was a joke. That was a reference that no one will get because no one's watched this movie.
No one's watched. Even people listening to this episode haven't watched Elektra 2005.
No,
there's a guy in it. Kyle, explain. Who's Mark Miller?
Okay, so Mark Miller is a very famous comic book writer. He wrote like Kick-Ass. He wrote the Kingsman comic books that the movies are based on. He has a whole like separate like universe separate
Civil
from Marvel
War
or
for
DC.
Marvel.
He wrote Civil War. He wrote Jupiter's Legacy. There's a whole thing where Netflix owns the Millerverse. He's a very prolific guy.
He's Scottish.
He's Scottish. He's one of us.
He's one of us.
In this movie, this comic book movie, the main love interest of Elektra is a guy called Mark Miller. Spelled with an E instead of an A, so it's different, I guess. But you know what? You can't see pronunciations in spoken language, so
You're joshing me, Kyle. What do you mean?
You mean? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I don't have the subtitles plug in for real life.
Yeah, yeah, true. So this was a film, wasn't it, Kyle?
It was a film. I'll tell you what, and I mentioned this when I watched it. It's more of a film than Daredevil. That's for sure.
Yeah, it feels like they tried to take some inspiration from X-Men in a way that... One of the things I bring up a few times in my notes for this film is it feels like the people involved with it cared.
Yes.
I don't quite know how to...
This doesn't feel like a hack job.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like this was done to like get people in Hollywood's buddies rich making nothing but like having massive contract payouts, you know?
Mm-hmm. There was an attempt at making something artistic here.
Yeah, like I can see like there's lots of things where she just like teleports around, but it's not literally teleporting in the language of the film. That's not a power Elektra possesses. It's just
which is confusing because magic does exist in this movie.
Magic does exist in this movie. She just kind of disappears a bit like Batman.
Yes, then she does the Batman thing.
So do other ninjas. But it's not like she actually disappears the way Batman does, because you cut to her when she disappears from speaking with Mark Miller on his porch, to her just round the corner, walking away. You know?
Yeah.
Like she doesn't teleport away, then we're back in the Batcave, you know?
No, she has the magic power of quick cuts.
Yeah, she's like a horror movie slasher villain.
Yes.
Like Jason Voorhees can just walk everywhere and he'll still be faster than you.
So, okay, I mean, this movie is bad, obviously. Everyone knows this movie is bad. It's honestly not as bad as I was anticipating. It's bad, but it's not like a total train wreck disaster.
I think it tries things, but it doesn't... All the things it does kind of well, it doesn't do much with, and all the things that it leans in on, it's just shite.
The main problem is it's just kind of boring.
Yeah, which is weird because Daredevil is a slice of life movie, but I would wager it's somewhat more engaging than this.
Yes, because at least like the characters are slightly more interesting.
Yeah,
this movie is a lot of planks of wood talking to each other.
Absolutely.
But like, okay, have you watched the Halle Berry Catwoman movie?
I've never seen the Halle Berry Catwoman movie.
Okay, for some reason I have seen that movie,
God.
but that movie is genuinely terrible because it takes like the classic sexist approach you would expect they would take to a lady superhero movie where it's like, oh, well, she's a woman, so she must be fighting some sort of makeup crime. Like, genuinely the villain of that movie has like evil makeup that's poisonous.
Oh, I did know that.
Yeah, so just like that kind of nonsense. This movie doesn't really have any of that. Like,
it's got a bit of it. Like one of the earliest notes I have in this film is of her Elektra's agent man asking her why she's so broody and like, are you even getting laid?
Yeah, that one, that whole character is extremely weird.
Are you even getting laid? What is this? What is this like? Is this the same guy? Remember she goes to like a friend's house later that's like in the woods?
Yeah, that's the same guy.
Is that the same guy? Right, okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
He looked more likeable later in the movie. At the start, he looks like he belongs in the John Wick universe. Is like some.
I don't know what
pusher.
that scene was. Why is Elektra cleaning the floors? Why is it all tinted yellow? What was that scene?
I'm left to believe she might have been staying in like the temple or something, and it's a commune. You've all got to chip in and do a bit of the work.
But there was no one else there. It was empty. Also, they go downstairs and it's like a bar.
You know, this commune, people can get drunk.
I don't know.
I don't know, Kel. I'm trying to do some legwork for the film here, right?
Because Elektra's rich, as we'll recall from Daredevil. She's the daughter of a super rich businessman
who kind of maybe trained her.
Yeah, he kind of maybe trained her, and I'm assuming when he died, she inherited all of that wealth.
Yeah, so yeah, she's now like that kind of kingpin, but not the kingpin, of course.
Maybe when she died, she lost all that money. It went to the government.
Even though she was dead for no time at all and actually revived by paramedics?
No, she was revived by magic, I think.
Was she not? I thought she was revived by paramedics in the back of an ambulance.
Well, they have at the start of the movie, they have a classic exposition dump, right? Where it's General Zod himself, classic General Zod, not Michael Shannon.
Terrence Stamp,
Chancellor Valorum himself.
Chancellor Valorum himself.
He's giving this opening narration about how there's this ancient war between good and evil, blah, blah, blah. And he says, the people on the side of good, they have the power to bring people back to life. And he just sort of drops that in.
Yep. Bury the mummy.
Which, to be fair, when it happens much later in the movie, I guess it's been established, but it's still extremely silly.
Yeah, but establishing, like, that's just your premise at the start. Like, we're front-loading this, Kyle, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give this movie credit. It doesn't do any, like, last-minute and suddenlies.
No, it's a very simple movie.
Yeah. Well, and then suddenly this happens. Wow! I thought the visual effects of this movie, Kyle, held up.
Some of them do, some of them don't.
What do you not think held up? The green fog?
I think the green fog, yeah, it looks pretty bad. I feel like we have to do more describing because no one have watched this movie. When any of the bad guy henchmen dies, they kind of evaporate into a puff of smoke for some reason.
It's peak video game programming.
It's we can't afford to render these bodies in real time, so we have to have them disappear somehow.
In case anyone goes on a killing spree here, we need to have these bodies disintegrate.
I guess it's supposed to be like the equivalent of a cyanide pill, or maybe it's to like hide the evidence of the body, but it's just very strange.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have this like ragtag mystical suicide squad, but half of the team don't.
They're like a pack of Mortal Kombat rejects.
Yeah, but it's like none of these people seem like they should be working with the Mystic Arts. They all just look like criminals that would be robbing banks to get stopped by Daredevil.
Yeah, I don't know how this group of people know each other. They're very different.
We have someone called like Kendo or something, and he's like indestructible.
Yeah, he's like Luke Cage.
And he's like walking around and nothing can hurt him. There's some good comedy of people throwing stuff at him and it just doing nothing. And
but his weakness is wood, apparently.
No, so like he throws something at a tree and the tree collapses, which I thought was all very good. I think none of this looks bad. All this looks quite good actually for 2005. And then it starts like a tree domino effect. And then the final tree falls right on his head. And that's the end of him.
And kills him instantly. I don't know why, but it does.
My favourite of the team, Kyle, is Tattoo.
Tattoo Man might be my favourite character in the movie.
Yeah, he's got quite good powers. Like, I saw there was like a raven on like a art mural at one point in the film, ladies and gentlemen. And it kind of looks like, you look at a portrait in an art gallery and you think the eyes are following you. So Elektra gets this feeling off this raven. But it literally is. It pops out of the wall and flies around and flies away. I'm like, oh, some sort of spy drone. Like some sort of Decepticon. And it goes to this guy covered in tattoos and then inks itself into his body. Like he can send out his own tattoos as living beings to like fight for him, to scout for him. And he does it quite a few times in different interesting ways. And it's got genuinely quite an interesting power set actually.
Yeah, it's It's neat.
Could he tattoo like a Star Destroyer onto him?
Tattoo the Death Star.
Yeah, like could he do that? But then,
well,
when
his
it
power
exits
doesn't
his
seem to have
body,
limits because there's much later in the movie he sends out a bunch of snakes, and he sends out like 6 billion snakes. It's not like he doesn't have that many snake tattoos on him. He just can spawn infinite snakes.
he must be able to just spawn copies of whatever he's got tattooed on him. Because I actually don't think the tattoo leaves the body. It's just like a copy of the tattoo exits his body.
Yes.
So yeah,
it's not super consistent.
It's not super consistent. This is the type of character that would come back in a Deadpool movie, I think.
Yeah, and it's weird too because this guy, to be clear, he's just one of the henchmen. He's not the main villain.
Oh yeah, he doesn't really speak. Yeah,
I don't think he has a single line of dialogue.
His name is literally Tattoo.
Yeah. The worst one is Tank Top Man, who doesn't seem to have any clear powers at all. He's just a guy. And you see him, he shows up in the initial lineup and then he shows up again later. It's like, I guess you were part of this squad, but you're just a guy. You're
honestly,
just a guy who can kick.
I forgot who you were talking about until right now.
Yeah, because he shows up later. He has a scene where he kidnaps... this movie has a very generic plot. Elektra has to protect a family, including a kid, a sassy teenager.
Ahead of its time, Kyle, ahead of its time.
Yes, Although, didn't we already talk about this with Rogue and Wolverine?
Yes, both of these movies are ahead of their time, or are we finding out that time is a flat circle and all that is old will be new again?
Yeah, Elektra finds a sassy teenager who it turns out is a secret badass assassin like she is. That's the plot of this movie.
She even is told to... Throughout the film, Elektra gets flashbacks, like PTSD, to when she was a child, for some reason.
Yeah, this isn't a thing that happened in Daredevil.
This isn't a thing that happened in Daredevil. This also was a different character from Daredevil, to be honest.
It really does, because the person in Daredevil, she was kind of like sassy and flirty, whereas this Elektra is pure drama and trauma.
This character seems like someone who would have no downtime. What the hell was she doing in Daredevil, sitting in that coffee shop, just chilling out, having a drink, reading her book, just having some private alone time, some healthy character activity, right?
Yeah, the fact that she was a badass assassin in Daredevil seemed sort of like an inconsequential detail. It's like, oh yeah, I can kind of fight, I guess.
Yeah,
whereas this movie treats it more like the classic Elektra characterization, which is she's been trained from birth to be this badass assassin and doesn't have any social skills.
What is she doing in that cafe in Daredevil 1? This character, what are you doing? What were you doing?
Fair,
just having some
Nathan,
downtime?
We did have this question when we watched Daredevil as well.
No, the question when we watched Daredevil was, what are the chances that when Daredevil meets someone randomly in a cafe that it happens to be some assassin that can cheat death whose father is related to the Kingpin who killed your father, Daredevil, Matt Murdock? That's all very strange. What are the chances Daredevil would run into this character? But now, look at it from the perspective of Elektra. What is this person who has no downtime at all, seemingly, cleaning floors and living in a monastery and being on the run and being really PTSD riddled? Who told you, go have a chill pill, go have a coffee and read a book in a cafe, and then maybe you'll meet a blind assassin, a blind, lawyer thug, man? It's just all, what is this person doing there? Now, that really plays into me thinking this is just like a different character. This is a different continuity,
This feels very disconnected from Daredevil.
So disconnected.
We've already mentioned the tattoo magic, and there was no magic whatsoever in Daredevil. That's all, totally new to this movie.
Yeah. There's some talk about cheating death in Daredevil.
Yeah, we see, a shot of her in, her Daredevil costume being revived at one point, I think.
Yeah, we do. That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought that was in the back of an ambulance.
No, I think it was Stick. I think it's implied that Stick is the one who brought her back to life.
And Stick is also in this movie implied to be a sensei, even though... Or her sensei, specifically her teacher. But then in the first movie, it's also supposed to be her father. And then even in this movie, we get PTSD flashbacks to her father kind of making her swim in a swimming pool.
Yeah, without using her hands for some reason.
Without using her hands. It's all very The Acolyte, isn't it? You kill someone but don't use a lightsaber.
We get flashbacks of her mum being killed by a demon, but actually it was a ninja maybe, we don't know. It's never really lingered on.
Exactly, maybe actually we don't know. And now you're gonna go chill in a lake house somewhere next to Mark Miller.
Well, Well, we think that, but actually she's there for an assassination.
She's there for contract.
She's a working the actual opening of this movie, she kills Jason Isaacs, which, how dare you, quite frankly.
How dare you kill Captain Gabriel Lorca of the USS Discovery, NCC 1031.
How dare you kill the Grand Inquisitor only when he's animated.
That's Lucius Malfoy, mother trucker.
Why would you get Jason Isaacs for this movie to have him just be like the beginning villain who gets killed off instantly?
Like
Make him the main villain.
Like the cold open of a Bond film.
Yeah. Jason Isaacs is a great villain.
Did they maybe think this was this is after he's done Harry Potter? He's debuted in Harry Potter.
He's definitely been Lucius Malfoy at this point.
Yeah, 2005, Chamber of Secrets 2002. Even when they shot this and it was 2004 or something, he'd already been Lucius Malfoy. And
I guess, like,
maybe they
thought early in the story, Lucius Malfoy isn't, like, a big villain yet. He's just kind of a dick dad.
Yeah, but the books were coming out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows where they thought he was in his career, but right now it just looks like a massive disservice, you know? Now, it turns out the actual villain of this film, Kyle, is the head of, like, the League of Shadows.
Yeah, it's Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that all means stuff to me. And then
it's Johnny Tsunami, Nathan.
The head of the League of Shadows says, "Hello, hitman for the League of Shadows. If you kill Elektra, I will resign my seat on the board of the League of Shadows, and you can be the boss."
Son, I think.
Sure. Why? That makes no difference.
I think. Okay, the leader of the Mortal Kombat Reject Squad is like a generic sort of ninja wearing white robes kind of guy.
Yeah, and his sidekick Poison Ivy.
Yeah, he really does look like who's the main guy in Mortal Kombat?
I know nothing.
He's a real from Street Fighter type. He's a white gi type fighter guy.
He can Hadouken.
He can Hadouken. Yeah, you can picture it.
Yeah,
he has like the edgy anime hair.
Absolutely, he does.
But yeah, I think he's supposed to be the main guy's son. I think they mentioned that at some point. It doesn't matter.
No, it matters not at all.
Because before that even happens, like, businessman, he sends his own goons to try and kill Elektra. Or no, he sends his goons to kill Mark Miller and his daughter. And Elektra stops them.
Yes, no, because she's leaving. She's like, I can't do that. She has her bow and arrow ready to fire, Kyle. She's going to kill this kid. And then she's but I can't do it. I'm going to go down to the...
She can't do it because she had Christmas dinner with them one time.
This is set during Christmas.
This is set during Christmas.
Is this a Christmas movie?
I get yes. Let's say yes. But yeah, there's this whole awkward sequence of events where angsty teen, who I think's name is Abby.
Abby, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. She like breaks into Elektra's house and they have this thing and she says, "Oh, my dad invited you over to Christmas dinner." But then when she gets there, it turns out that her dad didn't invite her to Christmas dinner. Abby just wanted to invite this random woman over for Christmas dinner for the lols, I guess.
To help her dad find someone, apparently, maybe.
Yeah, I guess she's playing matchmaker and she figures this strange woman who's living next door, who I guess is attractive but you don't know anything about, that she'll do. And
then also, why would Elektra go to this dinner?
I don't know. And then she gets there and it's obvious that she wasn't invited and the dad gets guilted into letting her stay. But, it just seems like not a great opening to a nice dinner.
Awful to watch.
It's unbearably awkward.
Yeah, exactly.
But this one awkward Christmas dinner is enough for her to fall in love with Mark Miller.
Who among us wouldn't?
Who among us wouldn't fall in love with the blandest man you've ever seen in your entire life?
They give him a lot of Captain Kirk lighting in this movie. They give him a lot of standing in the dark with like the like Dutch tilt eye line just going through his face, still the white light. Oh yeah, he's dramatic.
Look, don't get me wrong, he's a handsome man, okay? I will not deny that. He's
but he's like
he's not the handsomest man I've ever seen, but he's a nice looking guy.
He's the guy who, like, in the Taken movies, like Liam Neeson's divorced from his wife, and then his wife has married this new rich successful businessman who's really not a character.
You're right, he's exactly that guy.
He's exactly that guy, right? That's exactly who he is.
He's the bland, vaguely friendly new husband of your ex-wife.
Yeah, there we go. We've nailed it.
He's the guy who gets dumped off screen so that the ex-wife can get back together with the real hero.
Yeah, with Liam Neeson, exactly. Liam Neeson should be in this movie is what I'm saying. Terror stamp Liam Neeson reunion, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, like, they have negative chemistry. They kiss because they're a man and a lady in a movie.
I barely believe he's Abby's father, to be honest.
No, he's like, I looked it up. I couldn't place his accent for the entire movie. He's Croatian.
Okay.
And Abby is American. And, I guess, depending on where they were raised, that could work, but they don't look alike at all. There's no similarity.
She took the mother's genes. So there's something I wanted to mention here, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking about lookalikes and such. So at one point, Elektra's like, "Listen, I can't look after you anymore because Stick won't take you." And that's his name, right? Terrence Stamp.
Yeah, Stick.
Yeah, it's like
he's a common. It was actually weird that he wasn't in the Daredevil movie because he's usually more of a Daredevil character. He's the guy who trained Matt, which makes sense because he's a blind warrior.
That would make sense. So he is like, I'm not taking these people in for some reason. Even later on in the movie, he's like, it was a test, and of course I'll take them in. But Elektra's like, I can't look after you. Run, hide, go to South America, go to Europe, change what you look like. And Abby, and for some immediately later on, she's like, oh no, okay, in fact, the crow's looking at us, I will take you. And then when they're driving to Agent Man, Do You Ever Get Laid's house, they go in, and the guy's like, whatever you need inside. And Abby goes in, and she changes her look.
And for some reason, this guy is extraordinarily helpful. We'll get back to him in a bit. But what is this guy's deal?
What is this guy's deal? But Abby comes out looking exactly like young Elektra.
Yeah, she dyes her hair. She restyles her hair to be exactly like young Elektra.
Yeah, and it's very, very off-putting, actually. I think that
they even do a thing where Elektra sees her and she sees her young self, and then the camera flicks, and actually it's Abby.
Yeah, like it wasn't unintentional of the film. It's just a weird choice for the child, for Abby. Yes, be like the person who is I mean, I could see it. Be like the person that's trying to protect you, so you could be that person. It's really taking a lot on your shoulders, kid. There's more chemistry between Elektra and Abby than there is between Elektra and Mark Miller, or Abby and Mark Miller.
Oh my god, there's so many shots in this movie where it looks like they're about to kiss, and it's really weird. I'm glad this wasn't just me, but there is like a weird, like, romantic chemistry between the two of them, right? I didn't imagine that.
Between Elektra and Mark Miller?
Between Elektra and Abby.
Oh, yeah, but they have more chemistry. I don't know if I would call it romantic chemistry because she's a child.
There's many shots in this movie where their faces are like right next to each other and they're staring intently into each other's eyes.
Like a mother that she never had, and it's about Elektra for protecting herself as a child because of the shit she had to go through. It's an abuse story, Kyle. That's what it is.
Maybe. Do you remember when they play peekaboo on the floor?
Yeah, yeah. I rewatched that scene 5 times.
It was so powerful.
Yeah, yeah. It was really powerful. A bit like how, Kyle, when we were watching Daredevil, and I in real time recognised the thing about the cane beating, and he breaks Kingpin's cane.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
Yeah, you remember that. This is how I feel about the
peekaboo scene.
The peekaboo scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Recontextualizes the whole film. Yeah.
Recontextualizes the entire film. It's about how she wants to protect her younger self.
Yeah. The plot. Yeah. The plot of this movie, because it does have a plot, it's just Elektra takes this family to various places and they get attacked by goons, and that just keeps happening across the movie.
It's the plot of Assassin's Creed 1.
It's not the plot of Assassin's Creed 1. It's the plot of one of the Assassin's Creeds. I can't remember which one right now. I'm sure Assassin's Creed has done this at some point.
Where you just are constantly on the run from people hitting you?
Yes. I'm sure there's this Assassin's Creed game where you have to protect a small child. It's Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia. Yes, there's a small child that's possessed by Shoujin.
A small child.
I remember. Yes.
Kyle is your ultimate Assassin's Creed expert, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry, yes, I've been playing Assassin's Creed, so it's on my mind. But back to Elektra. Let's talk about our agent. We have to, Nathan. That's the podcast. Let's talk about Agent Man.
Let's talk about Secret Agent Man.
So he's like her assassin agent, right? Which I'm sure it's like a thing. He's the person who finds her contract to go kill this guy, right?
Yep, he's her handler.
He's her handler. But this was this guy's deal, because the first time we see him, yes, he has that line where he's like, oh, you're not getting laid enough. But he also has a line where it's like, did you have to kill all of the bodyguards as well? Are you really going to judge the professional assassin for murdering people? Is that where you draw the line?
That is where he draws the line. He wants efficient ninja-like killing, where you sneak past everyone unharmed, you kill the target, you leave minimum fatalities. He doesn't want anyone drawing attention.
Okay. But later, when she calls him and says, I can't do it, I can't kill this family, he's like, are you really going to draw the line at murdering children? I mean, come on, Elektra. It's like, what is this guy's morality? He doesn't want her to kill everyone, but he's fine with child murder.
Well, I kind of thought he was involved with, like, the League of Shadows coming to kill her, because it was him that she reported to when she was like, I can't do it. And
he's like, they'll send someone else.
Yeah. I thought then when she's on the run, it's like, oh, it's him. You know, like, he's the one that's sort of sending these people. Not, like, necessarily because he's the top of the food chain, but because he's middle management.
He's the assassin handler. He's middle management.
Yeah. But no.
No, she goes to his, like, house in Smallville, and he's exceptionally helpful to the point of sacrificing himself to save these random people. And it's like, why? What is this guy's deal? What's his backstory? Why is he so loyal to Elektra? We never got that impression that he was this super loyal friend beforehand.
But he's got his clay pigeon shooting rifle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is a neat shot where he shoots through the door at Luke Cage, and Luke Cage just shrugs off all of the shotgun shells. I kind of like that.
It's not literally Luke Cage, is it?
No, it's not literally Luke Cage. I think his name is Stone or something, but, like,
right, okay.
He's a big bulletproof black guy. He's basically Luke Cage.
Okay. But yeah, no, he's the Kincaid character from Skyfall.
Yes.
They set up the house as like a defence maze.
Uh-huh.
He's like, welcome to
the
Scotland.
guy who should have been Sean Connery, but they couldn't get him.
Yes, thankfully.
You wouldn't enjoy all the fan theories, Nathan, for the next 20 years about how that was actually James Bond. It was a code name. Blah, blah, blah.
Me insane. In the cinema, I would have in 2012 got a neat little hey. I think to fast forward 2024, if that had been Sean Connery, Elektra would give me more peace than Skyfall.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Just because people wouldn't shut the fuck up about it for the rest of my fucking life. You know what the good thing about Elektra is? No one talks about it.
No, they only ever talk about it being a notoriously bad movie. They never talk about the content of the movie.
No. No. They judge it by the... It's
Rotten Tomatoes score.
It's Rotten Tomatoes score, yeah. I was going to make some Martin Luther King analogy to the content of your skin, content of your character, you know?
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, something like that, and then the words failed me. They judge it by its RT score and its like pop culture status, not necessarily on its plot. I actually, before watching this, I'd never seen this movie before, Kyle. I didn't know there was a child in it.
No, I knew nothing about the plot of this movie.
I didn't know there was a tattoo thug. I didn't know Typhoid Mary was in the film, Kyle.
Yes, she is. I mean, yeah.
Basically,
I think I just called her Death
Ivy.
Witch throughout the movie. Yeah.
I think they do call her Mary.
This movie has a jump scare lesbian kiss in it.
Yes, I screamed.
I mean, it's not exactly painting girl-on-girl kisses in a good light, considering it's literally a kiss of death, but, you know.
Yeah, but it's hot, Kyle, and it's 2005.
It's got that 2005 edge for sure, yeah.
If this came a couple years later, we'd have been... Actually, no, sorry, I'm lying. I was about to say, if this film came a couple years earlier, we would get some Evanescence in it. That literally happened in Daredevil.
That literally did happen, This movie could use some Evanescence. This movie has no needle drops.
Yeah, this film's just no character.
No, I mean, look, they're trying to be, like, super, super serious about this movie, right? There's not a single joke in this movie other than a couple little lines.
I don't understand Elektra's motivation for most of these things, apart from a rough childhood that she doesn't.
No, that's the issue. She doesn't have a cemented enough character that you understand why she cares about this random family, even though before she was a cold-blooded killer.
Yeah, like, I understand when she gets to know Abby, she's like, oh, I can see the child in me and you, but also, Mark Miller isn't trying to raise her to be a deadly assassin. You're not actually saving her from any situation apart from the fact that...
No, the fact that she's a deadly assassin is a reveal that comes about an hour into the movie.
Yeah, why is she a deadly assassin, Kyle?
You remember the opening narration where they're like, once in a generation, an ultimate, super believable warrior.
Oh, she's Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, she's Anakin Skywalker.
Right, okay.
And I think that's supposed to be a twist, because you're like, oh, they're talking about this badass woman warrior. It's probably Elektra, but no, it's Abby. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, you think they're
Twist.
after you, Elektra?
I think before this, she was being trained by the Hand, and her dad sort of rescued her from that, and that's why they're living in the middle of nowhere. I think that's what's happening. And that's why the Hand want them dead.
Sure. Why not?
Nathan, this movie is pushing your ground, because the good guy ninjas wear white, but the bad guy ninja also wears white.
That's something I want to talk about. See, when Anne suddenly, Chancellor Valorum shows up with his white ninjas, it looked like something out of Big Trouble in Little China. Where they're having a funeral procession in the alleyway, and there's the evil black and red ninjas they show up to fuck up the white and gold ninjas at the funeral procession in the back alley, and just Kurt Russell's just sort of sitting in his truck looking at it all unfold in disbelief. And then like these wizards float down from the sky with lightning and whatnot, and that's how I felt watching it, looking up into the trees and seeing these white ninjas swinging around like something from Planet of the Apes. And then Terrence Stamp drops down dressed like a fucking school janitor.
Yeah, he's got like a little flat cap on, or not like a flat cap. I don't know what you call that kind of hat.
Yeah, he's got a little janitor's hat on, and then he's got white overalls and a grey t-shirt under. I swear to God, not one scene in this movie did he go to wardrobe. He just showed up wearing what he wanted. When he's playing pool in the bar to scam the pool sharks. Yeah. He's just dressed like whatever. And I suppose he's at a bar. He can be dressed like whatever. Then when he shows up in the woods dressed like a fucking janitor with he's even holding a big stick that looks like a broom, right? He's just wearing whatever. When at the end of the movie, literally at the end of the movie, they're in the Sensei compound. They're in his militant base. And he's just wearing like a blue shirt with a grey under t-shirt or something.
I think it's supposed to be like a ninja robe.
He's not wearing robes, Kyle. He's just wearing a shirt. He's wearing nothing. This movie ends in such a weird way with Terrence Stamp and Elektra speaking at the gates to the compound, and then she walks out and leaves, and he's just wearing his jammies. And I don't mean that to say, he's actually wearing some robes and I'm being insensitive. I mean, it doesn't look like Terrence Stamp went to wardrobe at all in this movie.
I will say, Terrence Stamp, I don't think he's phoning it in this movie. I think he gives a pretty good performance.
Yeah, I just don't think he went to hair and makeup at all. Or wardrobe, He's like, I'll wear what I want, actually. It's
that Harrison Ford approach, isn't it? It's like, I'll give you a good performance, but you're not fucking touching me.
Yeah, I'm not shaving the beard. I'm not
shaving my beard for Han Solo. I hate this character.
Yeah. I'm not cutting my hair, even though I'm a ghost. I've got really long hair now. Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm on that George Lucas, but this is Terrence Stamp now I'm talking about. He's like, I'm on that Phantom Menace money. I don't need your Elektra bullshit.
I had a cameo in the Clone Wars.
Kyle, do you know who else he's played? I forgot to mention this to you.
Oh no, who else has he played?
Terrence Stamp is the Prophet of Truth in Halo 3.
In Halo 3?
Yes.
Not Halo 2, though.
Not Halo 2.
He's the worst Prophet of Truth.
He's the less good Prophet of Truth, yeah.
Okay.
He's the religious zealot Prophet of Truth.
The one who loses all of his interest in political intrigue, yeah.
Yeah, who just sort of becomes a maniac.
What a claim to fame for Terrence Stamp. Named, I want to say, World's Sexiest Man 1964 or something like that. So good for him.
He looks like he lost out on an audition to be like an Austin Powers villain.
He bears a similar resemblance to the guy from the spy movies. Not this. What's that guy?
What spy movies are we talking about here?
The same guy who does Airplane, all those ridiculous
Leslie
comic sketches.
Nielsen.
Yeah, he bears a kind of a resemblance to Leslie Nielsen. I think that's what you're seeing.
Possible, but it's the eyes. He's got quite sharp eyes. Yeah, possible. Yeah,
his character, I mean, the performance is okay, but yeah, it makes no sense, because they go to him in that pill table and he says, no, Elektra, I won't help you because I hate you. And then later he says, I'll help you now, Elektra, because because the plot demands I do.
Yeah, he was like, oh, it was a test. But what'd she do to pass the test? You just showed up in the woods.
And also, that family could have very easily died.
And, like, what's his face? Bane from the League of Shadows. They're about to kill Elektra, right? They're all there. Typhoid Mare, they've done the kiss of death. And then when Chancellor Valorum, the Prophet of Truth, show up with his ninjas, and he dressed like a janitor, Bane sort of goes, oh, you won't survive next time, Gadget, and then disappears into green fog, sort of standing in place, and then disappears. Like, it's not like he's been captured. He can just teleport at will.
Yes. Unlike Elektra, he can teleport.
Yeah, unlike Elektra, he literally, within the language of the movie, can teleport. Now, if that is true, why can he not teleport to, like, wherever they go? Does he need to visualise the place a bit like Nightcrawler?
Yeah, maybe he's like Nightcrawler. He has to know where he's going.
Yeah, he's know where he's going. Okay.
Well, okay, after that, they take Abby back to the compound and she starts training with the good guy ninjas, I guess.
Yeah, and they're all big bamboo sticks.
Abby's characterization in this movie also is super inconsistent, because all through the movie it's like, I want to be a badass like you, Elektra. And then when she finally actually starts training to be a badass, she starts crying in front of Elektra because she's like, I don't want to be a badass Elektra. I want to be a regular kid. Like, what is your characterization, Abby? What do you want?
You know, this is also the point, Kyle, where we should mention the character who's not in the movie.
The character is not in the movie despite Google claiming that he's in the movie?
Yep, absolutely. This is where Ben Affleck shows up in the deleted scene.
Yeah, there's a deleted scene where Elektra has a dream of Ben Affleck and he basically says, you're doing okay, Elektra, come back whenever. Yeah. It's a pretty shit scene, to be honest. I understand why they cut it.
Yeah, so this is like another one of those I can see that they cared making it, because I think a lesser film, they would have just cashed in on Ben Affleck in a cameo.
Mm-hmm.
But this cameo makes no sense in the film. They probably just had him show up and do it because his schedule was available, and they were like, well, we really would like to have you in this movie, so let's see what we can do. But they weren't actually prepared to give him something to do.
Yeah,
so
it's literally the most on-the-nose celebrity cameo ever. It's literally a dream sequence.
It's literally a dream sequence where she wakes up in her bedroom in the camp of the ninjas, and he's just sitting across the room, and then he stands up, walks over. He's just dressed in black. He looks like, you know, the meme of Ben Affleck with a cigarette. He's wearing that outfit.
The sad flick meme. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's dressed in that outfit with, like, you know, the sleeves rolled up to his elbows, and he walks over to Elektra. He's not blind, clearly. He's looking right at her. And he's like...
I mean, it was just a deleted scene, but I don't even think he has the blind prosthetics in.
No, he doesn't. No. And he's like, you know, Elektra, you're doing a fine job, and you can see me whenever you like, you know, but you do you. Mm-hmm. You know, don't feel pressed to come back to me. Though I was watching this movie and going, I don't think she is, Ben. I don't think she is.
No, she doesn't seem to be doing okay.
No, yeah, she doesn't seem to need Ben Affleck. She doesn't seem to be in a position where she's like, I need to get back and see Daredevil, you know?
No, she's got a thing going on with Mark Miller, I guess. She's got a thing
going on with Mark Miller, I guess. And the people making this movie in the editing suite were smart enough to know, okay, we might have had Ben Affleck, but we had nothing for him to do. This would completely upset the pacing of the film, and it would throw everyone out of their fucking seats. Because they'd be like, whoa, Good Will Hunting? What? And, like, no one would know what to do, and then the movie would just continue, and then people would be like, remember when Ben Affleck showed up? What was that? And then, like, you would need to, like, YouTubers with, like, red circles and red arrows in 2005 to go, oh, the things you missed in Elektra 2005.
When did YouTube start? It was, like, 2006, I think.
Yeah, it was,
We're pretty close to YouTube's foundation.
We're pretty close to you, and the first video was an Elektra video.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they cut it, and me and Kyle both went into this movie, both of being in the impression that Ben Affleck is, in fact, in the film.
I'm sure you even said this at the end of our Daredevil episode. You're like, I'm pretty sure he shows up in a cameo in that movie.
Yeah, because I thought I'd been told this. And then me and Kyle's final, both, we read each other's notes before we record, our final notes, both of us, is, so Daredevil's actually not here? Ben Affleck doesn't show up, huh? And I got a little chuckle when I read that we both had the same final thought on this movie. It's not of Elektra, but on so Ben Affleck's not here.
Yeah, and look, this isn't like a thing where we're like, oh, he has to show up. This isn't like the Marvel thing. It's just we both assumed he was in it because everything says he's in it.
Yeah,
this is like a factoid about this movie, is that he has a cameo in this movie.
Yeah, that's like what people tell you. That's what Google's telling me. Like, even though I've never seen this movie before, I've been aware of the Daredevil, Elektra movies since probably they came out and just never watched them because by the time I maybe started taking a serious interest in superhero movies, we were moving to like Iron Man and stuff and Batman, The Dark Knight. So these are just kind of before my time, really. I say before my time. I watched the X-Men movies concurrently with them, but this is just shite, right? There you go. That's the excuse.
Yeah.
And yeah, people would say Ben Affleck's in it. So both of us are just like, what? He wasn't in it? Now, I mean, honestly, after having seen the deleted scene, for the best. Am I right, Kyle?
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
For the best that he wasn't in it. But there could have been a world where if they had planned it out a bit better, where he could have shown up in costume. See if he showed up in costume and had like a scene with them, they wouldn't have cut it. Guarantee. Guarantee. I actually think, crazily enough, if this scene had been exactly the same but he'd done it in costume, they also wouldn't have cut it.
I mean, this scene would make even less sense if he was in costume.
Yeah. Why are you dreaming about him in uniform? That's some... We got some unpacking to do there, Elektra.
The only time you actually saw him in costume is when you stabbed him.
Yep, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because remember, Daredevil things just happen in sequential order, but it's not a movie. Yeah. Anyway, back to Elektra the movie, shall we? Because this is when Mark Miller basically just disappears from the movie and ceases to matter entirely.
Yep.
And it's all the Elektra Abbey story. And there's another scene which doesn't make any sense, where in like some sort of vision of some variety, Elektra charges head Mortal Kombat man to a duel. And if they win, they get to keep Abby, and if she wins, they leave Abby alone. And this is some sort of like meeting of minds that they're in.
Some mind palace thing, yeah.
Some sort of mind palace thing, which there's a lot of magic stuff in this movie which is never explained, which, you know, it's fine, you don't have to explain everything, but it's nice to have context for what these things even are, you know? It's nice to know the rules of the universe.
Yeah, it is nice to know how everything works.
Because I have a question throughout this entire movie which is never answered, which can Elektra do magic? Obviously, we talked about her teleporting, but there's a lot of times in the movie where she seems to have like these premonitions of things. Like there's a very specific scene where at the start when they're being attacked by ninjas and she like envisions her own death and then does things differently the second time around. As like a proper like scene where she has this premonition of things to happen.
I think what we're finding out here is that she's a medium.
I guess.
She can sense. She's that so Raven, Kyle.
She's that so Raven. She has that so Raven powers.
Yeah, she has that so Raven powers. She has from the tattoo guy, you know, who literally has a raven on him.
Right. Okay.
Or whatever.
But this is not something the movie ever dwells on. It's a thing where you're like, oh yeah, you know, Elektra from the last movie, she has premonition powers. What? She didn't have premonition powers before.
Yeah, maybe if she did have premonition powers, she would have been able to save her dad from the Daredevil baton that Bullseye threw.
Maybe if she had premonition powers, she wouldn't have been murdered by Bullseye. Yeah,
no, I mean, yeah, you're right. What do we think of the of her outfit in this film, Kyle? I forgot to mention that.
It's terrible.
Terrible?
I think it's... I genuinely, because you first see the first scene in the movie and it's kind of all in shadows and you can't really make it out properly. You don't really see in its full glory until the last confrontation. And she kind of like, there's like a dramatic reveal where she takes off this big coat to reveal her costume underneath, and I laughed out loud. I genuinely did. It's so silly.
I enjoy it at the start of the movie with Jason Isaacs because everything is so grey and so dark and just like the only glows of the fireplace and it's snowy. And she's in this bright red outfit, but not comical red, it's like dramatic red.
Yeah, that opening scene has some genuinely good like atmosphere and tension to it.
Absolutely, I quite enjoy that. She also had a lot more chemistry with the henchman shooting the door than.
Oh, Bauer.
Yeah, Bauer. He got a name.
They say it like 5 times, and I'm like, oh, you mean like Jack Bauer?
I know.
Bauer,
I know.
The action hero.
Kiki the Sutherland. I felt more chemistry with Bauer than I did Jason. Who was Jason Isaacs playing? You know.
Yeah.
But I know who Bauer is.
I can't remember. I know who Bauer is because he was talking, because Jason Isaacs was explaining everything to Bauer, and it's like, oh, my friend Bauer, we're all about to die. She's about to kill us all, my friend Bauer.
Yeah, and Bauer's like, I have a machine gun, rat-tat-tat-tat the door. But all of this is just to say, Bauer's a real character, and I thought Elektra's outfit in the opening part of this film wasn't actually bad. I quite like the red strappings around her hands, around her wrists. Sure, it's like a red corset thing, I suppose. It's nothing special. It wouldn't fly today. I just think it's more of a costume than her costume in Daredevil, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it is, but when you see it in all its glory in full lighting, it just looks so silly. It looks like cosplay, which is obviously like the worst insult you can give for a superhero costume.
Hot take, that's how I felt about Michael Keaton's Batsuit in The Flash.
Yeah, well, it does happen sometimes, the cosplay effect. But also part of her costume is she just puts on a ridiculous amount of eye makeup. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah. She's tempting it all dolled up.
Yeah, and this is the same thing for all lady superheroes. Her hair is just getting in the way all the time when she's fighting. Tie your hair up. I mean, for goodness sake.
Yeah, May and the Acolyte had the good sense to cut her hair.
Oh yeah, spoilers.
For who? Listen, by the time anyone listens to this, they better have seen the Acolyte, right? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, don't let the internet fool you. Last week's episode, or this week's episode, or the episode that aired concurrent with when we released this episode was damn good.
It's a damn fine piece of television.
Much better than Elektra, which is what we had to watch before.
Which is
watching that.
Much better than the thing we're actually here to discuss, supposedly.
Yeah, I mean, the fight scenes in this are just dreadfully edited. There's a lot of really obvious wire work going on where people jump up and do like these ridiculous like spinning jump kicks which just don't look real at all. They just look silly.
Do you think they think they're paying homage to like old martial arts movies?
I think so. I think they think that, but if they are, that's not very tonally consistent with this Super Dower series movie they're trying to make, because those movies are very high camp.
Yes, they are. They absolutely are.
Like, when someone does a silly wire work jump kick in those movies, you're not supposed to think how cool and realistic it is.
Well, so just after we have a lot of the wire work fighting, Kyle, we end up running into a maze for some reason. Mm-hmm. They have a maze.
Well, they go to the old Elektra Nachios family house.
Yes,
because trauma.
Because
she
trauma.
gets attacked by sheets, like those things from Doctor Who.
Yes, she does get attacked by sheets. I actually thought that bit was actually quite neat because he's all wearing white, and as the sheets are moving around, you can't really tell what's him and what's a sheet.
It's fine until they start clashing swords, and then the editing just goes out the window, yes. And it's just like a cut every half frame.
What else goes out the window, Kyle, is literally the characters, because they leave the house.
They do. They literally jump out a window.
Yeah, they literally jump out a window, and they go into a maze. This big house has a maze. And in my notes, I have written, we interrupt Elektra 2005 for the third encounter of the Triwizard Tournament from Goblet of Fire 2005.
It does feel a lot like that.
It does. Even like they go into the weeds, because this is where a Tattoo from earlier mentioned in the film, he lets all of these billions of snakes out of his body. Uh-huh. And they're chasing around just like a swarm, like they are the algorithm from the Matrix or something coming to kill people.
Yeah.
And Abby gets taken through the bushes of the maze wall, which is literally what happens in the Goblet of Fire. Now, this actually came out before the Goblet of Fire, but it came out after the book. So
the book, yeah. But yeah, so they're running through this maze, and Elektra's like, make sure you keep up with me, and then immediately doesn't keep up with her.
Well, make sure like we don't lose track of each other, right? Elektra's the one who proceeds to not look over her shoulder to make sure that Abby is still with her.
No, literally the entire reason she's here is to protect Abby, but she immediately loses her.
And she's running damn longer than she should have been before checking. Because it's really quiet, because no one's chasing her anymore. She's just running from nothing, because they got Abby, and they don't care about Elektra.
Yeah, it's weird too. They established, Abby is the secret badass, and then Elektra does this little challenge to protect Abby, but then Abby comes anyway, and you'd imagine in that scenario, Abby would end up contributing to the final fight. But no, she doesn't. She just ends up being kind of a problem that Elektra has to deal with.
She's a MacGuffin.
She's a MacGuffin, yeah.
She's the thing.
Wasn't they call her the treasure?
I would simply say that they should have called her the MacGuffin, and everyone would have known what was going on.
People who understand film theory would know what was going on.
Yeah.
I don't think typical audiences understand what a MacGuffin is.
It's just shorthand for the thing required to propel the plot.
Yeah, I think like the most famous example nowadays is probably the Tesseract in the Avengers.
Yeah,
that's a classic MacGuffin.
That's a classic MacGuffin. But MacGuffins can be people.
MacGuffins can be people, and yes, Abby is a MacGuffin. Do you remember when she's confronting, what was it you keep calling her? Death Witch lady?
Oh, Typhoid Mary.
Typhoid Mary? What's that from again?
Isn't that literally the character? This is what Google told me the character was called.
Is it literally Typhoid Mary?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's literally what the cast of Elektra.
Okay, yeah, they're having their confrontation, and she says to Abby, you know, once upon a time I was the treasure. And I'm just like, what does that mean, Typhoid Mary? You used to be this badass ninja warrior, but you're a death witch. This doesn't seem very related.
So, Typhoid Mary was an Irish-American cook who believed to have infected between 50 and 122 people with typhoid fever.
Right, yeah,
but,
it's like an urban legend. Yeah.
No, it was a real person.
It's a real person, but like it's like a old wives' tale.
And then there is a character. Oh, Typhoid Mary Fisk, also known as Bloody Mary and Mutant Zero, is a super. Okay, well, this is suddenly a lot more relevant.
Are you saying this is the daughter of Michael Clark Duncan?
Yes. Absolutely. Wait,
sure. Okay.
Nee Walker was also into conflict with Spider-Man and Deadpool, ultimately marrying it's Wilson Fisk's wife.
Oh, okay.
Second wife.
This
Wife.
isn't Vanessa.
This is his second wife, Kyle. After Vanessa, he marries Typhoid Mary.
I don't know how they cast, considering that she makes everything around her in a a 2-foot radius die.
Well, Kyle, we just discussed Rogue.
It's another one of the kill visuals in this movie is whenever she's walking through like nature, all the trees around her turn black and die. It's kind of a neat visual.
Neat visual.
But she's a nothing character. She's another henchman.
It means nothing. She reminds me of... Remember the buff indestructible lady from Deadpool 1?
Yes, I remember.
Well, I can't remember the character's name, but yeah.
No, me neither.
But that's what this Typhoid Mary reminds me of.
Yeah, like all of these henchmen, like sometimes they have kill visuals, sometimes they're just a guy in a tank top. But all of them are just henchmen who die. They're just mini bosses, basically.
This is the original Sinister Six.
And to be fair, even the main guy is basically just a henchman himself. He's just the head henchman.
Yeah, he's the head henchman because for some reason the Ra's al Ghul says he will resign if he kills Elektra.
Yeah, and as far as I can tell, he filmed all his scenes in a single day, just in that boardroom.
Yeah.
Just sat in a chair.
Absolutely. Like, why is any of this happening?
Well, because Abby is the treasure, and whichever side controls her, she's a powerful warrior, even though she never wins a single fight in the movie.
And has no desire to do any of this.
No, she doesn't see, like, she's a MacGuffin, but the movie never presents her as, like, a compelling MacGuffin that, like, oh, this will change the tide of the war. I don't know.
The war against
kind of
who?
fighter, I guess.
Who's fighting?
It's the ancient fight between good and evil, Nathan. It's the assassins versus the Templars.
But what are they doing? I'm not seeing a war.
No, I mean, the white men just show up to fight the goons, Nathan. That's the war.
Only because the goons are after Abby for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're totally right. Like, what evil are the Hands doing in this movie other than trying to kill this family or recruit this family, maybe? It seems like their only interest is in secret stuff. Like, are they smuggling drugs on the side? What's their criminal empire actually doing?
And, like, why was Elektra working for the Hand?
Was she even? She maybe was.
She's going to kill the kid.
She's an independent contractor who happened to take a contract from them, I think.
Right, okay. Now, why would then the Hand have put out a hit to kill Abby and then suddenly they want to use her?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know.
Right, okay.
I think the contract was actually on Mark Miller because he, like, betrayed them. I think he was the initial target, and she was just sort of like, you can't leave any witnesses.
And then, not only is the witness his daughter, but also she is she's Anakin Skywalker.
She's the treasure. She's the chosen one.
Right,
yes.
okay.
I think I think that's what happened, because later on, Head Goonman has like a scene with Abby, I think, where he's like, I can teach you the ways of the dark side.
Yes, I'm Count Dooku. Hello, Obi-Wan, you should join me.
Mm-hmm. But he gets thrown down a well and explodes.
You know what? I quite like that effect when he's going down the well and you can see his sword sparking as they hit the side of the well wall.
Mm-hmm.
An interesting visual. Why is there a well in the centre of this maze?
I don't know. What's usually in the centre of a maze? It's usually like a pavilion or something.
Like a statue or something, yeah.
Yeah, like a statue.
Because a well is supposed to be a public utility to get water. Imagine, I need to get water. Time to go into the maze.
It's just a little punishment for the servants. Like, it's time to go fetch the water.
They tend to get lost
Alfred.
the next 2 hours. You need to have a bath. You better get that water 3 hours before you're going for your bath.
You're so right. I didn't even think of this. Why is there a well at the centre of a maze?
What, like, why? Yeah, it makes no sense at all.
But Elektra, she resolves her trauma because she brings Abby back to life, because Abby literally dies. She gets killed by Typhoid Mary.
Yes,
I don't think she does the kiss of death on Abby, does she? She just touches her.
I think so.
Because we can't do that to, I guess, who is I don't know how old Abby's supposed to be.
A minor.
She's anywhere between the ages of 13 and 18. I have no idea.
Yeah, somewhere in that window.
But yeah, she dies having not accomplished anything in the movie. But Elektra touches her and she comes back to life somehow
the power
magic.
The power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
The power of many,
yeah.
The power of love.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly, yeah. There's the power of good and the power, the light side of the force.
Yeah, but can Elektra just do that to everyone? Can Elektra cure death?
Can Elektra bring back her own father?
Yeah, is this specific to, like, Destiny? Is this a Destiny thing?
Yes, it is a thing in Destiny. Warlocks have self-res.
Yeah, the warlocks, I mean, that's a whole thing. The ghosts, they constantly bring people back to life, right?
Yeah, paracausal energy, the power of light. This is a Destiny prequel, Kyle.
Of course, it makes perfect sense.
Yes, when Abby died, I specifically heard Peter Dinklage say "Guardian down."
Which, of course, it would be, because he hadn't been updated to Null North, right? Yeah.
No, not in 2005. It was Peter Dinklage in 2005.
It was Peter Dinklage, yeah. Of course. Oh, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
It is, Kyle, yes. We've justified this film.
Yeah, and then she meets Stick in the driveway, and Stick is like, "You're a good person now, Elektra. I always knew you were," because I guess that was her arc in this movie. Even though, for the entire movie, she's protecting this family out of the goodness of her heart. So it's not really like a coming to Jesus moment. She's been good the entire movie.
Yeah, this film starts with Valorum, Terrence Stamp narrating over the red flags that would then go into the credits of the film. And in my notes, I've got, this guy wishes he was Patrick Stewart.
Oh, it's not Patrick Stewart talk about mutation, is it?
No, but it's trying to do that, I think. This film...
No, you're right. That's the X-Men influence for sure.
This film feels like a bad X-Men movie, Like, worse than the worst bad X-Men movie, but, like... the way that Daredevil felt like nothing, this feels like they're trying to copy X-Men.
Yeah. And you know what? I think I might have enjoyed this more than Daredevil. Is that crazy to say?
It's not crazy. I actually don't think you're crazy. I disagree. But that's only because...
I think this movie has more interesting ideas. As I say, I like Tattoo Man. I like some of the visuals. It's boring. It's a boring movie, but at least it has a plot, which Daredevil didn't have.
Yeah. No, I think you're not wrong about a single thing. I don't think you're crazy for liking this more. I think that this movie has more going for it. I think I'm just more pre-programmed, if you like, to have just leanings to appreciating Michael Clark Duncan and Ben Affleck in that film.
As is canon on the podcast, you do hate women. So this is not to be surprised.
Famous misogynist Nathan of the podcast.
Hey, look, and I'm not claiming this movie's good, to be clear. These are both bad movies.
These are both bad movies, yeah.
But I think I might have enjoyed this one slightly more.
I mean, listen, I don't think you're crazy. Put it that way, right?
Okay.
I think you're very sane.
Thank you
for liking this film.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No. Let's be clear. Not liking this film. I didn't like this film. I think it's slightly better than Daredevil.
Let's be clear, everyone.
That's where It's still below like a 30%, okay? It's not a good movie.
Yeah. Oh boy, yeah. Well, is that it?
This movie basically killed Jennifer Garner's career, didn't it?
Yeah, she married Ben Affleck. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, as Wikipedia tells me, she's apparently coming back as Elektra for Deadpool and Wolverine. So,
I'll believe it when I see it.
well, the thing is, we've got Lady with the adamantium fingers from X2 coming back. There's lots.
But that's a good movie that people like.
Yeah, but who remembers Lady Deathstrike from X2? Like,
she has a cool fight scene in that movie.
Yeah, but it was so long ago. You know, like Pyro's coming back. People have said that the TV version of Blade showed up in the background of some screen caps from the trailer. And then people are like, well, why wouldn't you bring back Wesley Snipes? And then everyone goes, well, remember Ryan Reynolds was in Blade Trinity and apparently hates Wesley Snipes because of Blade Trinity? Because Wesley Snipes...
Yeah, Wesley Snipes is famously an asshole.
Yeah, specifically in the latter half of the Blade franchise.
Yes.
I would like to see Wesley Snipes back as Blade for something like this, but I could completely understand why Ryan Reynolds would not be the person to make that happen, right? That would perfectly make sense. And if he's bringing back like a TV Blade for bits and jokes, I could get that Ben Affleck wouldn't do it. Not least of which because him and Jennifer Garner, I believe, are divorced now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Jennifer Garner's worked with Ryan Reynolds before and stuff. And I could see her doing a bit, you know? Like, she's older now, she's more financially stable, she's not like a working actress in Hollywood trying to make it big, she's a known name. She could just do a thing for her friend and get paid
so she could have Deadpool make jokes about how terrible her movie is.
Exactly, right? Exactly. So, I mean, we are going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. This show will be on long enough that Deadpool and Wolverine will be long since out and on streaming by the time we actually reach it. So we'll probably be talking about Elektra again, I imagine.
Again, it remains to be seen.
Yeah, it remains to be seen. Listen, this part of this episode of the podcast can be held against me. We can replay it with echoey reverb at the start of the Deadpool and Wolverine episode if it doesn't happen. I'm not even necessarily... I literally don't care if it happens. It's just what I've read online, so maybe we'll see her. You know, it might just be a bit. It could be a bit.
Okay, well, I mean, the bigger question is if we will see the characters of next week's movie, you know?
Oh, Carol, tell us what we're watching next week.
Next week, we will be doing 2005's Fantastic Four.
I can't wait. I love 2005's Fantastic Four franchise in general. I love the first film, and I really like Rise of the Silver Surfer. I like both of these movies. I was the perfect age when these came out.
I'm curious to see if they hold up, because I remember liking them as a kid as well.
Yeah, so I remember liking Rise of the Silver Surfer more. I think probably they haven't held up. But this is one of those things, you know, where people get your nostalgia given to and you go, this is bad actually. But I think maybe I'm holding out, Kyle. I'm excited. I was actively not looking forward to watching Elektra. I am looking forward to watching Fantastic Four.
You know what, though? I'm glad I finally watched it. You know, it's nice to finally see these things.
Yeah, absolutely. This is kind of the premise of the show. For you, anyway.
Yeah. For me, yes.
Yeah. Watching all these DC movies at the end of the run just because, well, you need to watch them at some time. So this is it. We're moving to Fantastic Four. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching and listening to this podcast. I've been Nathan. You can find me everywhere online at Nathan Tinney, Twitter, Instagram, Mastodon, Threads. I need to speak slowly so I don't accidentally say Hive. And you can find me in Kyle's YouTube.
You can't give them publicity, they don't deserve it.
Yeah, don't deserve it. And Kyle, where can we find you online?
People can, of course, find me at Kyle the Skull on YouTube, where I do video essays and game critiques. I mentioned Assassin's Creed, that might be relevant. I don't know. Maybe so.
Oink,
Maybe that
oink.
might be relevant to something that's happening. But yeah, that's mainly where you can find me. I don't do the social medias anymore, which, despite working on social media, I recommend you do the same. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, Kyle's not getting on his soapbox in the last 30 seconds of this episode. Thank you.
And of course, you should check out our back catalogue where you can view all of our episodes on the Snyderverse, as well as our growing list of videos on the Fox movies.
Kyle, you stole my
That's
plug.
Something to do.
I was about to say all of that. Yes, everyone, as Kyle said, thank you so much for listening. You can listen to our entire back catalogue and all good hosting revenues. Avenues, not revenues. You're not getting paid.
I was just happy that I remembered this time. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm quite happy you remembered as well. I thought maybe it was just going to be a bit where it was only me who remembered. We have done other episodes people can now listen to. We have a whole archive of stuff. Enter the DCU, Enter the X-Verse is getting bigger and bigger every week with each episode that we do. Thank you everyone so much for listening, and you can hear us next week for Fantastic Four.